carry me away from here, from this hell on earth.
And they called her Marina, sin in soft focus. Battle brewing within Marina, this world bored me. The boys were toys for me, still they called you Marina. A born poet sinner, for none of the saints ever knew the real you. Oh, Marina, Marina.
Always from here to another place. From Moscow to Berlin. From Berlin to Italy. To Paris. To Prague. To Moscow again, and finally here. To Yelabuga. Holding in my hand the end of the rope. Each and every one of us walks around with the length of the rope. Not all of us look for it. Know whence you come from and pretend not to know where are you going. Year in and year out. Only a poet asks for the end of the rope and for the hook. The poet never gives up. I never give up. On the contrary, between two points, there runs one straight line. Between the hook and the other end of the rope. And the rope starts to shine like a string of a violin. The note is enriched. It is purified. The note and string blend becoming one. And as the note becomes even more precise and clear, the hook is revealed in all its true glory. In a special place. There can be no other book. There can be no other place. Yelabuga, God-forsaken place. Yelabuga in Tatarstan. Yelabuga, the plain that leads to its you. Raina Maria. You will stand there in a white suit, resembling a weight in the middle of the forest, because he always loved trees.
Silver birch trees I love, with their white barks and silver weeping leaves. I will hold out my arms to you, Marie.
Without saying a word.
Maria, real.
And for poetry's bride, Marina Tsvetaeva. My rope will not separate. There won't be any more question marks, exclamation marks, hyphens. No more dirty. Marina is megalomania. Marina is Bolshevik faithless slut. The hook was Marina's last port.
What do you care, my Marina, what they say? Who are they, anyway?
I will tell them that you were true. The treasure is the real choice. At last I will bear forth. Not a monk, not a warrior, not a saint, and not a prostitute. A poet, and only a poet.
Marina, the poet. A poet, and only a poet. Not a woman, not a saint. But Marina, the poet. And only a poet, and that shall be that. Remember, my Marina, love song? Of course, how could we forget? How can I keep my soul in me, so it shan't touch your soul and accidentally set it free? On what instrument are we to stand? And what musician holds us in his hand? Oh, sweetest Marina.
Raina, my Raina, I give up. There is no escape from the web of work. No. It's no coincidence that everyone left. And I stay here on my own. It's because I could speak to you, to prepare you for my arrival. It's not easy to get along with me, Raina, but this time, with me, it will be different. Do you remember when I wrote to you from Saint-Gilles? It's not enough to be familiar with the personalities. Circumstances are of no less importance. Circumstances. My circumstances.
Circumstances which accost one's heart, gnaw at one's fertile soul. With you, I shall be different. I shall be softer, calmer. I will change. I grant you my honorable poetic word on that. That means everything, right? You ought to know me by now.
My Raina, you know, only you know from Marina. Oh, it's not by chance that everybody left. I stay here on my own. My landlady went off to work. Some tribal work that revolutionary went. The revolutionary woke in the morning and ordered all its citizens to volunteer for forced labor. So that at the end of the day's work, every one of revolution's slaves will receive a loaf of bread. The old husband replies to the revolution and sent his wife to the owner of my house to give Caesar what is right for his, while he himself took their youngest son and went fishing by the river. It's so bad about that. Even Comrade Stalin can't order river to spawn fish according to quote. Oh, the river's rush is only consolation, and so they make their living the bread from the revolution and fish from Jordan. I took some fish from my son. He's 15. He has something to eat with. When I've gone. I'm always cooking, scrubbing floors, peeling potatoes. Look at my hands.
I've seen your hands. Show them your bruised and battered hands. Do not be afraid. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You are not blind, you out there. The poet's not a cross to bravely bear. It's not a paradox or some sick despair. May God be fair to our Marina if her soul to him she earnestly bears. Or do we stand to judge each one of her less than celestial affairs?
That's all you ever learned to play.
My mother forced to play the piano. We're always drawn to the pen.
Practice piano. Practice do, re, mi. Do, re, mi.
Oh, our mother's Raina.
My mother wanted to dress me in little girl's clothing, and your mother wanted to turn you into the world's greatest pianist.
Marina, you haven't practiced practice your piano lessons today?
But I have written a poem.
But she's written a poem, madam.
The child doesn't write the poems. She practiced piano. Play, play, play.
You see, madam dear, that's where I'd have to step in and disagree.
What hell is asking you? You agree or disagree?
She never saw the boy born in me.
I could have played piano beside Rubinstein.
Fine, just fine, madam dear. That would have been simply lovely, delightful, glorious, sublime.
Are you making fun of me?
Surely no. Who, Rilke?
What hell is him?
Raina Maria Rilke.
Oh, now I understand. You and him will write Asiatic poetry.
Same with Mandelstam's mother, with Pasternak's mother. Boris Pasternak wrote me once that his mother gave up playing the piano for the sake of her husband and her children.
All those mothers who gave up everything they loved so dearly for something they loved less.
My mother, Maria's mother, Mandelstam's mother. I'm a danger for my son. I'm a danger for him now. I don't want to destroy his future. I never gave up my poetry. Never. But I never sacrificed my children for my poetry. But they called me the mother who devours her children. I never sacrificed my children for my poetry. Never.
That last summer, my last summer, 1926. Oh, Marina, how we should have met. We could have electrified each other in the maddening heat.
What's behind us?
It's been time, it seems, to have brought to the moribund Rilke's last summer a caramel wreath. Alas, their plans to meet were never realized.
Irina. Irina. I had no choice. I had to leave Irina in that institution. Her big sister Anna was sick with a high fever. When I put the mirror close to her mouth, I couldn't say this steam when the mirror was coming from inside her mouth, from the freezing cold outside. Irina didn't have high fever, and I thought that in that institution she would be taken care of. I had to take her apart, my sister. But the mighty mother of all the Soviets didn't bother to serve Irina with even a cup of hot milk or a slice of bread. My little one had even started to supply her quota. And these little girls, age 3, who isn't taking part in a quota dance. And these little girls are told this new revolutionary Russia. It is as if they had stolen her. Dead. I don't know where they go. I don't know. Where is the father? Was it Mandelstam? Where are you? Kevin, what about you? Gumilyov, are you free? Merhol, Всеволод Merhol, are you alive? People who had been swallowed up by the fog. I know for sure you don't know all these folks, but they all knew you.
Do not fear, Marina. I am here, Marina. shout that this life is over, look over your shoulder, Marina. Do not fear, do not weep, for the angel of sleep is here. The horns blow, the drums roll. The past is still ahead of you, Marina.
Down to the river. He asked me if I will be all right. Of course, I will be fine if you know. Why do you ask? You look tired. A bit straight. Planning something against. Звучат в моей высокой тяге лирические провода. Звучат в моей высокой тяге лирические провода. The lyrical wires of my poems are buzzing. Can you hear them, Raina?
You wrote, Enchanted One. How can a poet harmonize two chosen words so as to reach the tremors of your tortured rhyme, which comes and goes in you as by a mystic sign? From out your forehead leaf and lyre arise, all yours. In poetry only goes. Through songs of love whose phrases, soft as rose petals, descend upon the eyes of those who read no more because their eyelids are closed.
Marina, you killed Irinочка!
Mama, don't put my soul on trial.
The murderer is you!
Oh, Mama, don't cry. Don't cry, Irinочка, don't cry. Tell Mama how much I want to die.
You repent now, but I know you lied.
Raina, Raina will take from our parents all which we give to our children, but it is not just cheap psychology. This is the cycle from the seed to the fruit. But my mother didn't tie me to the chair so that she could play the piano in peace. There was no need to tie me to the chair. I was clever. I could read at the age of 4 and write into languages by the age of 6. My Irina couldn't speak at all. Look, she sits in her cradle humming. Can you hear her?
I hear her perfectly, clearly.
Something is wrong with Marinочка, number one.
Okay, consolingly from side to side. And when she's hungry, she screams. And when there is no milk in the house, she screams even more.
She howls miserable, Herr Rainer.
Leave Marina in peace, but do not get in her way. It will all be all right now that I'm here to stay. All comes and goes in circles around this holy coast. That certain ghost you're familiar with, of course. You're in his presence, and in his presence everything's split loose and fancy-free, right?
How heavenly, bravo, lovely.
I used to go out into the street with her big sister Aya searching for milk. It was not possible to leave the baby alone in the chair. I had to tie her. I had to tie her. I had to tie her. My mother also tied me up, but not with ropes.
I was tied to Ivan Vladimirovich Tsvetaev. I was his second wife.
My mother used to say that she and father were married on the top of his first wife's coffin. Why on earth did you marry him, Mama?
Because that's what women did on those days. Got married.
He really had not much to do with you, did he?
Your father was in love with his museum. That's true.
I never read stories to my daughter. I needed to write them.
I recited poems to Marinochka.
I never wrote poems to my daughter. I needed to write them.
It's not a fault, dear heart. It's possible to read together, but it's only possible to write apart.
It is not my fault that I'm the one who writes what other people read. And I was always alone. And Irina was alone. And my sister Aya was alone. Older Aya learned to read my poems right after I finished them. She learned very quickly how one should live. By the side of a poet, what price one has to pay. Planted firmly over my baby's head. God graced me with two even hands. Two tiny hands, right for the stroke by each poet. With these two hands, clutched mercilessly, I fought against death valiantly, only to save my eldest daughter's life. In Vashnival, so I lost the battle for my young one's. How could I ever let her go? How could I ever?
Marina followed slowly, and it took much trying, as though some obstacle still barred her stride. And yet, as if she, on the other side, might not be walking anymore, but sank flying. Perhaps really he's a fool. He's raving mad. He's now trapped in the other world. It seems he's lost his poet's head.
God, every foot is a cry. My mother really cried.
I still think.
She even fell in love with another man.
Did not.
And later on with a second one. But she was faithful wife.
I was proud of your father.
My father was in love with his museum, the first national museum of Russia. Since my return, I haven't yet visited it. They dug with sculptures and books. Father gave them his library. He gave them my mother's library. I gave them my library. Before I left, what did they do? With Balzac, Roman Roland, Victor Malone.
Bourgeois sentimentality.
What did they do with Mark Twain, Green Brothers, Hope, so-called opium from them? When I had a son, I read everything to my son. Georgi. I meant him to be the man in my life.
One ought to have a true man at one's side.
Oh,
So right. One man. And only one man. You are one to two.
Ladies, please do not fight on my account.
All the books which my mother read to me, I read to him. But 2 years ago, when I returned, we returned to Russia, he complained to me. He said me, with all that capitalist shit, you are to blame. I'm not to blame, you Russia is to blame. My mother made me drink from the open veins of poetry.
I made you what? Grunt.
I've turned into a vampire.
That's how it is with you Russians. You are poetic vampires. Enchanting though, entirely captivating and ever so melancholy.
Go ahead, you go on. My distorted, contorted mess of a girl.
I beat my son, Georgi. Forgive, Georgi. Скрыложилы, неостановимо, неудержимо, хлещущий. Подставляйте миски и тарелки, всякая тарелка будет мелкой. Неостановимо, неудержимо, хлещет стих. Perhaps my Irina was silent. She never had a home. The one who has no home is silent. There are no pictures on the wall to which stories from. No sculptures to tell stories to. No carpet, no furniture. There are no people. My sister and I had a home. Even the name of the street was like a poem. The three pools. Трехпрудный период in the middle of the city. Ducks in the backyard, pigeons in the coop, acacia plants, and then again, standing on gold, just silvery cypress tree. 100 years old. On wintry nights, Susanna Davidovna used to light the big stove, serve tea. And Mother read us the poem of Baudelaire.
The sirens and seduce sailors on the wine, in the town, the murky depths of the river.
Mother, do what you do best. The piano player.
Very well, Marinочка.
Raina, I know only one person who equals me in spirit.
People cannot understand, Marina. There are no partitions between the dead and the living. None.
When they told me of your death, Raina, I knew that you are, in spite of the coffee, and that you always will be, as you knew that I am, in spite of my body. There is a brotherhood, there is a bond, there is a contract between friends,
Between poets.
and with everyone who leaves me and goes out of my loneliness. I so?
Keep life and death in close, Marie. It's an easier pill to swallow.
Afterwards, after some luck, time, it's so much easier to meet them again. I met Alexander Groff. I never met him during his lifetime, as I never met him. But I always knew I was his great love. The love for Dave took him all his life, but never realized. After his death, Bloch told me that he always knew there was someone.
Someone I desperately loved. But I simply didn't know who she was.
I told him it was him.
Ah. We met on the bridge overlooking the Moscow River, didn't we?
He used to always. He was always waiting for me there, endlessly, on the bridge.
I remember the chunks of ice that used to float down that river. Ah, yes. Love is as free as a bird. Or so I've been told.
He stood there and the snow fell free. The bridges became transparent. The houses became transparent. It was heavenly moment, everlasting reflection of the sunset. White clouds walked the corridors of Kremlin. Walls melted at the touch of Bloch's hand. And I walked beside him, outside time. Я тебя люблю, все бессонницы я тебя молю. А ту пору, как по всему Кремлю просыпаются звонари. Но твоя рука, да с моей рукой, но твоя река, да с моей рекой. Не сойдутся радость моя да коль, не догонит заря, заря. I never succeeded in meeting Spirit, my daughter Irina. Do you think she's boycotting me?
Irinочka, don't go back to Marina. She has heart of stone. When I was dying, she wrote poems, love poems. Under the birch trees, barricades. She is in love with Napoleon. Revolution rages the street. She is dreaming of Pugachev.
That's what she's saying to her. I just know it.
I say the truth, Herr Reiner.
The truth. The truth is that I was in love with Alice, my teacher. He translated Baudelaire. He had a pale face and his eyes were blazing with passion. He was the handsomest devil I knew in my youth. Many were frightened of him. But my sister and I, we were in love with him. She was 40 and I was sweet 60. our prince and knight. He was all and everything at once among the people that he was. We loved him passionately, burning from within. Alas, our romance lasted only for a week. How sweetly she sings, as bells tingling tenderly do. Oh, my dear spectral wife, how much I long to be soft like you.
Ah, that's bad dreaming, Marina.
There were our white nights, Raina.
But dark nights followed in your footsteps.
Mother was dying on the second floor, opposite the window. That looked out in blue of poplar trees. Father buried his was at the museum. We would spend hours with Alice in the library. We were the ladies of the house.
Come here, child, I'm dying. Ha, she never came.
Well, no wonder your mother is so angry with you, Marina. Perhaps we should take her sentiments seriously.
How you understand me, Herr Rainer? Marina is not a Virgin Mary.
Whoever called me Virgin Mary. Raina, my mother might not want to meet me in another world. Can you ask her if she could see me? Buried her. Father had a heart attack. I lit up my first cigarette.
You never told me that, my dear.
Have you ever smoked, Raina? I just lit up. And the fire turns into smoke. I absorbed it. On, and then rushed out the cigarette stub like blood.
Marina doesn't smoke. She devours cigarettes.
Oh, dear.
Later, they'll say that Marina devours men, too.
First of all, they meet when I was talking to relatives with poetry, literature. I hate those people. They don't read literature. Heart-to-heart talks and so literary souls. Why do they need all this? I know it's wrong that the young lady's body. I know that I make love to a man. I never understood it. They tried to court me, but I'm left with a feeling of incurable loneliness. Their bodies like a wall. It disturbs me from seeing the soul.
What I couldn't soak up in life, I sip with freedom now. So sick, I spent the last of my days in agony due to my malady. Oh, Marina, give me your mouth to soften. Oh, I want to surround you with your true self and that faded expectation left from the edges of your eyebrows. We can, through our love, craftily and sit.
My Marina, when she was ever out of love, Herr Rainer. But the truth is that I am only one who really loved you. I love you too much.
Mama! Mama! me, Raina. My face is heavy. My vain hands are bruised from work, from washing, from having to drag water cans every day from the wells, from the floors I cleaned. Look at me. The gray color of my skin, my gray hair. If I am not sick, it's because my soul isn't sick. And if I found this hook, it's because now I'm able to lay my soul to rest. Do you remember what once you wrote to me?
If I should be silent, my lovely, don't stop writing to real people. I remember very well what I wrote once.
But what I thought was,
You thought that I needed a rest?
Yeah.
Marina?
Yeah.
You can write from time to time, but I maintain the right of silence. Is that what you
Yes.
thought I always write what my heart means, my dear.
I didn't know that you were so ill, Raina. That you would die, being so young. Had I known it, Raina. Had I only
It
known.
was not my wish for you to know. Pity is awful.
I would have dropped everything and come to you. God. Because you didn't wish to be sick. And see that die. So young.
Perhaps I just really wanted rest. Peace from life itself. Whoever looks seriously will find that neither death nor harsh love has any clarification whatsoever, nor absolution or resolution, not even a hint of a path to be perceived. And for both these tasks of love and death, which we carry wrapped up and hand over without ever even opening, there is no basic settled rule to ever be discovered. So we humans always play the fool.
Oh, Ryan, how good it is that we never met. We couldn't spoil anything during our lifetime. And now I ask for rest. And you will be my final rest. Ryan, my dear, you will be my final breath. Just once in my life I thought I had found rest. It was in Kotzebue, when I met a frog, Sergei the frog. I told those men hovering about me, whoever will bring me this throne I will marry!
So I went down to the insolent shore and cocked the bell to find her stone.
Knowing Cornelia.
Genoan Cornelia. Genoan Cornelia.
Genoan Cornelia.
Only on the shores of Cocktail could one find semi-precious stones like this.
We used to go down to collect stones for bracelets and necklaces.
Genoan Cornelia.
Cocktail was the land of Homer.
Cocktail was at the very edge of the world, really.
A small community nestled in the blue hills that swept down to the sea. And the frog, Sergei Frog came and presented me. How my stone! Genoan Cornelian! Genoan Cornelian!
Someone once told me that she tried to commit suicide with love.
Silly. Suicide is a simple thing. But in Cocktail, we still knew how to choose. From an assortment of stones in the shore, trying to find the most beautiful. From an assortment
tried to sit down the most truthful.
From all the men I chose,
She chose me.
whose eyes never ever lied, whose face never knew the dark and mask, whose hands with their long thin fingers knew to choose from the shore my snow.
Days of scorching sun and salty sea were days in Portugal. With Sergei Efron, I loved even the sea. But more than anything, they were swell together in Portugal. There the stars glowed like mushrooms of fire, and friends would read poetry, quenching my desire. Nestled together, lingering over a pitcher of wine, we used to bake in the oven huge pears. Portobello, Portobello, I remember you well.
The soft flicks of Sergei tasted like blackcurrant.
Oh yeah, I know just what you mean. Well, vast beaches, the craning net of stars enveloping the bright sky, gentle rocking winds. Also take my family on vacation here. I really love this little slice of heaven on earth.
Who on earth are you?
Why do you care who I am?
And who the hell are you really?
You're being rude. Yeah. You are being rude. I'm the one who is dressed professionally, and you are the one who is standing. Appreciate it, Carlos. I said, sit down. You are Marina Ivanovna Tsarskaya,
Yes, I am
And what is your occupation?
a poet.
All the more reason to see that is if you are a poet. On the other hand, a poet is not a true occupation. How do you serve the Soviet state?
I write poems.
I'm sorry, if I wear these shoes, I wouldn't be joking.
I'm not joking.
Who's your husband?
Efron Sergei Yakovlevich.
And where is he now?
You know better than I do.
Why patronize me? Take it easy.
Just answer the question.
My husband is imprisoned and I hope he is still alive.
Is he a Jew?
Is it really so important?
Will you please answer the question, is he a Jew?
How do you?
So, he is a Jew.
He is half Jewish from his father's side.
What about your father? He is a Jew too.
The name of my father is Ivan Vladimirovich Tsvetaev. Does that name sound Jewish to you?
Could be, could be. But on his mother's side, he is a descendant of a noble family, is he not?
Yes. But his mother was a revolutionist. She was imprisoned twice by Tsar's police.
Listen here. Your husband was involved in counter-revolutionary activities. And he was in the White Army. How did that come to be? Давай. Отвечай, смелей.
He did as many people did in those days. But he was young. Later he acknowledged his mistake and became a knight of the revolution.
What are you talking about? You, poet. By the way, doesn't poet rhyme with the harlot?
Говорится, я рыцарь, что верна всем вам, кто жил и умирал без страха. Какие вы роковые...
Вылучай сама деталь.
They took my husband. They took my daughter. They left me alone to write my last poem. And I don't know if it is Requiem or Hallelujah. Marin is egocentric. Marin is so strange. There is no one in all of Moscow who dares dress like she does. When I published my first book, they loved it. I was invited to read my poems everywhere.
Marina, a gypsy girl! So what? I love your dresses. Your fabrics fight over your flesh like jealous lovers.
Silken dresses with golden threads. And that velvet breast. With white silver belt. And those amber necklaces. And amethyst earrings in turquoise beads. Marina! The gypsy girl! Let them talk! The throne was by my side. I had a mad passion for life, burning passion. And all Moscow listens to my voice. They gossip, but Moscow holds its breath. Moscow presents me Pushkin prize. I won't accept it. This is a trap. Not me, they will lower into the earth. Not me, not me, not me. When Father opened the museum of Moscow, I met the Tsar. He looked at me, and I looked at his pure, transparent, child's eyes. Kings are children. They are toys people play with. We thread them in luxurious garments, see them in golden coaches, drive them in a coach to their coronation, or into the thick of the forest to their execution. My baby daughter! They starved her to death. The Tsar! They shot both children. Maria, my eldest, managed to be born in good years when the voice of Marina was heard. But the stormy voice of the war, like thunder on the distant horizon, my Germany will fight Russia, my Russia will fight Germany. And what will I do? I love both of them. And actually nobody knows why they fight one another. The birthplace of my body, Russia, and the birthplace of my spirit, Germany. Ephron was conscripted to kill sons of God. This war was a mistake. Ephron didn't understand the war either. He pretended he understood it. It was much easier for him to fight Germany than to fight my lovers.
No one could abolish your lovers, certainly not Ephron.
Sabia Barno. I couldn't fight Sabia. I didn't want to fight Sabia. I forgave her everything, even before I knew her name. Sabia. Silent war of heaven and earth, my Sappho, my great love, and great arrow, the woman as priest, Marina. Never rested my hand on my mother's breast. I came to rest on Sophia's chest like a child after the day in the playground. Love is love of the soul. But it is not possible if one soul blends into the other. Somebody has to die. If one soul is to conquer the other, how long could I love her? How long could she love me? What can one do for such a suicidal love? Everybody cried out what she is doing to Sergei Ephron, the poor soul. Tell them all that I will love Sergei all my life. He is dear to me. I won't leave him for anyone. Leave him for me, please. I write to him every day. He knows everything that there is to know about me. I have a burden weighs on my heart. Forgive me, Sophia, my great love. And great. Society, after Sophia left. After Sophia, everything was different. My arms stretched out to the world. The world that couldn't shake me off itself. The world that needed a point. I'm searching for something different. Something it is not possible to find. I'm searching for the core of my great loneliness. Lonely. From where poems are born. Even Osip doesn't understand that he abhorred himself. He couldn't stand the heat of my loneliness that broke down his own. Those days were days of wild and roses. In those days, Moscow was my heart. The wide roads, my art. Paris, my bed. The bridges, the journeys of my body, and I gave my body to Oscar.
Easy now. Men from St. Petersburg don't know how to behave in Moscow. One needs to take them like one takes a child to the market for the first time and expose them ever so slowly to its colors, its smells, to the drunken fights. That's the only way to do it.
Like a fragile bird. Like a fragile bird, I took Osip into the palm of my hand and made him drink the wine of the city I ever loved. Sip by sip, little sips, so that he couldn't get drunk and fall.
I was only tipsy. Dreamily, we promenade the streets side by side, floating in squares, bathed in clusters of stars.
What a city Moscow is for lovers. Snowflake.
The tinkling of sleigh bells, quenching the pious bells of its churches. Oh,
You were a man, but more like a child.
Another child by my side.
it's still a man whose lips muttered poetry. All the time I spoke only in verse.
Mandelstam never wrote a word. He spoke poetry.
Commit the rhymes to heart and mind. It's simpler that way to unwind for a poet at the end of the day.
The one near him had to write down the rhymes. I walked by his side. He mumbled and he mumbled after him.
Loneliness, where does this loneliness come from?
Where does this loneliness come from?
Loneliness come from?
Where does this loneliness come
Where
from?
does this loneliness come from?
Where does this loneliness
At once, he broke out in laughter.
Where does this tenderness you say? Oh, Marina, you sounded like a boisterous synagogue.
What do I have in common with those Jews?
Efron, Mandelstam, Pasternak. The eye. Always the eyes. One can roam in deep wells, reading secrets. Where does this tenderness come from? Where does this tenderness come from? The scars on the past I had so slowly strong, and some lips I had known were darker than yours. Where does this tenderness come from? I walked by his side, and the trucks roared by, packed with soldiers. All this waste, all these young lives being pulled down the drain. Who wants them? Who drinks the blood?
Oh, Russia drinks, Marina. Then it's only drizzle, the soft tail end of the summer rain. The winter will follow soon, long and cruel, soaked in terror, civil war, barricades, executions. Oh, Marina, hunger will be so great that fathers will eat their own children. A holocaust, destruction, and rivers skimming off blood. The fish will turn crimson with blood, the rivers will turn crimson with blood, and the fish will eat human flesh. But you see, Russia will purify itself in this way.
Those foolish men adore the apocalypse until they are drawn into it. And then what? Mandelstam, my boy, with the beautiful eyes, returns to Petersburg, and after a few months he runs.
The saddest thing in Moscow is Marina Tsvetaeva's holy virginal vanities.
Vanity! What vanities? I taught him love, taught him to smile, to breathe. to open his eyes, to see beauty. Not just to see and say, but to shout it out loudly. There is beauty. Love is beauty. Yes. I gave him the holy virginity of my love unconditionally, with me or without me, by my side, from a distance of 100 miles.
Tsvetaeva has turned into a prophetess. She is prophesying like other women say.
Oh, where did you see what button your clothes by yourself? Don't a pair of socks. Washed filthy, dirty clothes. Lost your daughter. The hunger and frost.
Then I wrote to Marie. Men poets? At least they adopt everyday language, the people's language, while female poetry continues to shriek in a hysterical pitch, insulting our ears, our very endeavor to hear historical notes.
What symphony of fairs was storming your heart, Ossie? What symphony of glory Madame History had played for you? I wrote to you, they will take you with their bare hands.
They will take you with their bare hands. Zealous, stubborn. Your screams will fill the night. You will scatter your wings to all four winds.
Oh, Seraphim, oh, Igor, they took us. I did. And nobody knows what happened there. And they will take Marina too.
I won't let them take you from me. I won't let them hurt you. I won't let them do a thing to you. Not to you.
God bless you, Raina. How could I go crazy? I had 2 daughters to feed. Me, smoking. How could I go crazy when I need to get hold of a cup of milk for a baby who doesn't drink much? I go out into the villages to exchange a bar of soap, roll of material matches, and then for food. I'm breaking furniture that my mother brought me from Germany on my wedding day, so that there would be wood to light the fire. And there is no more furniture left. We can axe down the doors, chop off the banisters, rebutt the wooden floor. Lovely house. How the 3 Pools street has turned into a skeleton. Haunted house. And ghosts wander about. My little daughter, I sense to the heaven in a chariot of mercy.
Golden stars will welcome her above the red sky. Perhaps I'll drop by.
Have you seen her ride? Has anyone seen her? In God's courtyard, business as usual. But the first to make you up the babies. After them, the boys. But Dawson didn't understand that his turn would come. Have you read him riding? Is he something new? Can he hear me as you do?
Death is great, Marina. We are in the Lord's keep, laughing and holy. When we feel deep in life, He dares not for our sinful soul weep. We must go, gently call. And in the afterlife, He watches over us still, much like a husband pardons his nomadic wife.
This woman wrote to the Lord once, but he told her to address her letters to the devil.
Смерть побелил. Белым был. Красным стал. Кровь обогнал. But in those days, they just shut their eyes. Борис Пастернак, Осип Мандельштам, even Alexander Blok, like a placard of revolution, makes its round on the street. When it will stop? At his door. At my door. Who is next? Merhol. Perhaps Severat Merhol, the first communist theater director.
You know, they say that Marina devours men. They say she takes all the boys from Mayor Holt's studio into her bed. I think that's funny.
Oh, it is not funny. I wrote plays for them. But Mayor Holt didn't like it. He didn't like me. With high ideas go against all the sacred ideals of Great October Revolution. Where were his great ideals of Great October Revolution when they threw him into jail? What did they do to him? Those advocates of sacred ideals. They let him die. From starvation. From disease. Or did they just shoot him? was he again like the girl who took care of you wrote to me that you suffered like a fellow. And how will I die, right?
In a way that becomes you, I should. Did you hear my eulogy? It spoke of us. The Reiner-Marina relationship was absolutely the only one in his life in which his mind and another of equal rank confronted, recognized, and electrified one another.
Only, I can't stand suffering. I won't go with a suffering body, not with a tortured soul. I simply crossed the board. One step. And you will be waiting. No. It's not hunger that's driving me out. Here we still have some food. A little loaf of bread, some fish, and some rubles for my son. He's a big boy. He's a sweet kid.
Marina's inheritance to a rebellious son. Perhaps you shouldn't decide so hastily. Things of such gravity can't be decided this hastily.
In Paris, he hated me for not following his father and sister back to Moscow. In Moscow, he hated me for not stopping him from leaving Paris. He didn't know of the oath I had sworn to his father 20 years ago when Ephron was one of the Kremlin's guard. I swore to him that if he came out alive from the war, I would follow him until the end of Ephron was full Catholic, half Jewish, an enemy of the people.
Oh, by the way, a Jew is a primary enemy for most people, as much as
He only knew of death with others, though. But we are seized and thrust beyond surmise. She never wrestled with his vision, no, and delicately eased out with his eye.
I'll see you later. If I don't see you soon.
I love you to say.
Do you remember Beverly?
Oh, yes.
Men tipping their hats before the women. Women passing me by, trailing behind, walked through my color. The man shame. I'm reading poetry again. Dawn in silk stockings. Brown.
Oh, I love Prague. Crossing the bridge from one bank to the other bank to spy on the lovers on that bank. Oh, autumn in Prague. Golden oaks shed their leaves, and birch trees. Oh, lime trees in the suburbs.
Men drop around me like autumn leaves. Prague, 1924. Prague, a city for lovers, not Paris. Ephron is already making arrangements to move to Paris, but I don't want to leave Prague. I don't wish to leave Rodzevich. I'm in love with you.
Dobrodej. Rodzej.
Вечер добрый, Мария. He was my husband's friend. 1924. A call of mad love. As such a I love him. But I'm caught between my husband and him. I'm a torture to Ephron. I'm a torture to Rodzevich. I'm a torture to myself. I can't live. I feel like I'm dying. I can't live outside my soul. It comes around my neck like a dog I follow you, my husband. And I'm leaving Rodzevich.
And your love always gave birth to new poetry.
Любовь — это кровь и пот. Цвет собственной кровью волю. Вы думаете, любовь беседовать через столь? Часочек и по домам, как те господа и дамы. Любовь. Любовь — это значит храм. Дитя, замените шрам на шрам.
We have a firm knowledge that your husband, Sergei, was involved in counter-revolutionary activities. And besides, he's been a German spy.
My husband is an honest man, and he could never be a traitor.
So, your husband is not a spy, that's what you tell him?
Exactly.
Is it also a lie that your father, Ivan Vladimirovich Tsvetaev, was a millionaire who sacrificed his millions to fight against the revolution?
My father gifted Russia with a museum.
Oh, this really? He was an altruist. We're not in need of such altruism. And besides, it's quite evident he did it to cover up your spying, cheating, pimping families, unsavory activities, including espionage.
Are you condemning my family?
Oh, your family. Your family. I would be more than happy to utter a single voice of appreciation regarding your family, but your family doesn't give me a chance to do so. Your daughter Ale, she was involved in your husband's criminal activity, and we happen to have a confirmation right here. Don't be shy. Take a look if you will.
No. She could never.
Oh yes, she could. She very well could, Marina Ivanovna, and so could your son.
It is not possible. He's only 15. He's naive and honest young boy. Oh, this is raving madness.
I assure you this is not a poetic dream, and furthermore, you'll regret it tremendously. You'll regret it most definitely if you don't confess.
And I won't confess.
You're already at your end. I promise you will confess anyway, but it will be too late.
Dear, suppose the inhabitants have been evacuated. Here they fight the land of fathers, Russia, in the land I love, John. I love this heart. There's still enough time to it, like sense to the fingers. When I will it slips out. When I will it stops. We had such a game when we were children on the seashore. We used to jump. It's and up in the air. From head to head. Oh, yeah. Gouged her by a stick. Oh, get his nose melted with the lip. Oh, get his face all bloody by kick. Oh, get his head all smashed by a brick. How will you not do this now? How will you? You will die by strangulation. Oh, you will die by slow starvation. Oh, you will be swallowed by slimy slop. Oh, you will be trampled by a mammoth back. Oh, you witch, Baba Yaga. side of my daughter. My son? Why? Why did we stay in Paris? Probably because the Parisians had finished with their revolutions. In the morning, they go outdoors to their cafe, eating a baguette spread with a little camembert and looking at those Russians with a fabulous smile, red and white Russians, as if to say, friends, we have been there already. With our revolution, we went as far as the gate of Cairo, Accra, and Moscow, and where are we now? Back on Montmartre, on the Rue Jarry, et pas comme ça. But Russians don't listen. My blood boys were reading in Paris, hundreds came, and 10 was stood outside them, clapped and stepped. They beat encore!
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 Bravo! Bravo!
Why Pasternak didn't want me? Why didn't he whisper in my ear, Marina, don't go back to Russia. Marina, Russia is a country eaten up its own citizens. You're headed to your death, Marina.
But Pasternak did warn you. He gave you that rope. Perhaps he was simply scared, simply afraid to say that all this life is nothing but a farce. That is all, nothing more.
Comrade Stalin, I appeal to your justice.
This is your speech.
I don't know why my husband stands accused,
You don't seem to comprehend the tragic measure of your predicament.
but I know him as a person of high honesty and responsibility.
How dare you waste Comrade Stalin's precious time with your filthy, pathetic letters, which will only worsen your situation, as well as your husband and your daughter.
Comrade Stalin, my husband served this country with all his heart and soul. I beg you, Comrade Stalin, take the situation under your control. And if there is some ill report on my husband, please check the credibility of the person who wrote it. It is a mistake. And I beg you, Comrade Stalin, mend this situation while it is not too late.
It's already too late! We have proved that your husband is an enemy of the state. Your daughter is an enemy of the state as well. You are the wife and the mother of enemies of the state. Is that clear? I'm asking, is that clear?
No.
Crystal clear. And all enemies of the state will be imprisoned, and you will be imprisoned too. But more than that, your son will be imprisoned along with you. Listen, it's not me. It's the law. I don't make the law, I just follow them strictly. Your son will be imprisoned along with you, and his future will be destroyed completely.
So no response from Comrade Stalin.
Come again? You are met. Comrade Stalin does not respond to enemies of the state. And the fact that you are enemies is quite evident. Your friends and colleagues have attested to the fact and have rejected you. And you have only one way to atone yourself. Your sins before the fatherland and absolve for you and your family if you truly are an honest person and honest.
What exactly must I do?
Have a seat. Have a seat, I said, sit down. You must cooperate with the NKVD and sign this agreement. You must disclose to us all the criminal activities of yourself, your colleagues, and your friends, and all so-called poets and writers. And that's the only way. There is no way out. Trust.
Trust me. I will be imprisoned, and my son will be imprisoned with me. I have to be an informer. Never.
Oh, you are a sick woman. Why didn't you follow the poet Pasternak's advice and hang yourself? He is a Jew. He must be white.
Bastard. There is no way out. There is no way out. Georgi, my son. Forgive me. I'm seriously ill. I'm not myself anymore. Tell your father and I that I will love them to the very last moment. Explain that I was in a trap. Love you, man. Life, take me with you. You have such clear eyes. Crystal clear like water. Like iron and water. In reality, your own dedication to me right now, all my life, I gave much of myself in my poems. Also to poets. But perhaps I gave too much. That's why poets never wrote poems to me. But you wrote to me writing your poems. You wrote this poem, the song of songs. Oh,
Pale ocean froth, jovial froth, Her Majesty's froth of the ocean. Marie.
say me yes now. I recall your last letter. Yes, and yes, and yes, Marina. All yeses to what you want. And I, in my madness, wrote to you. The past is still ahead of us. And yours.
Yes, Marina. The past is still ahead.
Right. The dusk is falling. The train is howling. Trains of blues. Train. Oh, right. The angry woman tonight. Those who will fight my boat. Кто создан из глины, а я серебрюсь и сверкаю. Мне дело измена, мне имя Марина, я бренная пена морская. Дробясь все гранитные ваши колена, я с каждой волной воскресаю. Здравствуй, пена, высокая пена, веселая пена морская.
Немного жизни в гостях, жить это только привычка, слышится в небо воздушных путях.